I'm 3 days away from sabbatical. Tomorrow is July 4th, and Senator Murkowski of Alaska voted for a bill she knows will hurt Americans across the country, but at least she got some goodies for Alaska along the way. I've got a headache, and the "stop shoving your politics down my throat" folks are already hitting dislike. But I've got coffee, and my brain is sparking into gear. These are some random TTRPG thoughts. Let's roll it. Before we begin, I want to shout out everyone who has liked, commented, and subscribed to DM Tales. It helps a lot. If you'd consider doing those things for this video, I would be most grateful. And a special shout out to my coffee contributors who help keep this channel going out of the kindness of their hearts. If you'd like to join the channel, the link is right over there. Also, if you're looking for some cool stuff to wear, check out my merch store for t-shirts and hoodies, including this one, which declares that you don't have a dice problem, you are a shaper of worlds. With all that out of the way, let's get to the randomness. Reading The Elusive Shift is becoming more and more fascinating, and it also makes me less interested in all the arguments about dice fudging and theater kid slurs and grognard insults and the proper way to run a campaign, because it seems like no one has said anything new about any of these topics since the 1970s. I'll still end up participating in this endless cycle of pontification, I'm sure of it, because I'm human, and that's apparently what we do. But I'll only end up boring myself. Cypher System is going to have a revision that will be released in the middle of next year. I'm rather interested to see what will be revised in it, and they have promised that the current books will still be usable, but a lot of folks in the Cypher community are biting their metaphorical nails. I empathize with them. I mean, I've been back in the hobby only since 2020, so I haven't had to deal with an edition change, and I don't count 5e to 2025 because I don't run the system, so I don't really have any experience with that shift. I honestly don't think that the new Cypher System book will be an entire new edition, but past scars for folks who have been through all the edition changes over the years are difficult to forget. And I'm a Philly sports fan, so that I understand. I was able to interview Land of Eames Ben Costa and James Parks the other week, and it was a wonderful conversation. Ben and James are great guys, and they have a new crowdfunding campaign underway which touts a simplified version of the game for kids and the game's first expansion. Go check it out. Okay, I try not to be binary about the vast majority of existence, but there are two types of people in the world. There are those who understand that building a concentration camp in a swamp and then actually bragging about this makes you the bad guys. And there are those who are wrong. Free League Summer Sale has started. Go check it out because they put out some amazing stuff and their discounts are steep. Over the past week, I've had several folks bring up the idea that role-playing games are escapist, and they didn't mean anything bad by it. They were just pointing out that when life seems bleak, it's good to have a space to which you can go where you can forget about all your troubles for a while and hang out with some friends. And you know what? That's not a bad thing, and I both appreciate how needed those spaces are and how TTRPGs can fill those spaces. At the same time, I don't think RPGs are quite as escapist as some folks seem to think. Now, why is that? Well, the game emerges from our own personalities. See, there's always a small bit of ourselves in the characters we play, which is true even for GMs and their NPCs. And that's a true statement for everyone from story-minded role players to the most meticulous of min-maxers. We can never escape from ourselves, but we can, either by deliberate action or instinct, and I think most of us do this instinctually, explore who we are. Also, remember, I'm an introvert, so I get excited by weird stuff like this. As I was reading The Elusive Shift last night, a thought emerged in my brain which I'd understood for a while, but never quite articulated. Folks in this hobby do not play the same games, even if we're using the same system. That's because the game emerges from the group's engagement with the world, and what exists in the world is a function of the GM's focus and tendencies. So we can play a game of Shadow Dark, Numenera, Easy D6, or Dragonbane, but we can never play the absolute version of Shadow Dark, Numenera, EZD6, or Dragonbane, even if we're playing rules as written. Now, there's some overlap between all of our games, which is why we can play at open tables or conventions, and we can all have a good time. But we do not play the same games. I find that both liberating and humbling. Have you ever had a week where you want to run a game, but you're kind of fried, and you can't even consider running your ongoing campaign? Because that's where I am this week. I just don't have the energy to prep for my regular Dragonbane campaign tonight, so I'm offering to run a simple pick up and play game instead. And I find running new systems invigorates me and helps motivate me to get back to my long-form campaign, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. The alternative for tonight is to play Dave Ward's excellent Plaguebound, where I get to play my imp-like character who is not a barbarian, but acts like one. This is also a compelling option because that character is an absolute blast to play. He is pissed at the titular plague, and that because it destroyed his home, and attacks it with relish. Looking back at my comment about not being able to escape ourselves, this is a character who makes me go, I have had some of the most wonderful comments from people on my videos lately. Folks have suggested games to review, they've offered kind words, they've shared their own insights, and they've been kind. See, I don't do DM Tales for validation because I don't need that sort of soul-crushing pressure on my life. But experiencing kindness and appreciation from folks, that's a good thing. And I'm also gratified that the majority of folks who pop up here on DM Tales are insightful, kind, and share their joy, because that's the type of audience I want to attract. Coming up on the channel, I have already recorded my review of Streamlined Superheroes, so that'll appear on the channel next week. After that, it'll be Rust and Redemption, and a slew of these fine books that you see on my shelf, including Dave Ward's excellent Ironbound. As always, I am looking forward to bringing all of this to you, and until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.